So today I'm going to be talking about Aristotle's rhetoric. And the example that I'm going to be talking about is from a speech that I got to witness from a former NBA player, Chris Herren. And his speech basically talks about the struggles he faced when having a drug addiction and how it basically had him hit rock bottom and how he's now trying to bounce back from that. So throughout the speech, he used one of the proofs that Aristotle's rhetoric talks about, and that's pathos. He used a lot of emotion. He talked about how he was homeless several times throughout his life, and he encountered a lot of injuries, and the injuries and the addictions eventually caused him to hit rock bottom. And we could feel like the pain for him and all the like sad emotions that one can feel for a person when they're dealing with a drug addiction. But eventually in 2008, Chris Herren became sober, and ever since then he's been sober. So once he became sober, he really wanted to give our generation the knowledge of what a drug addiction can do to you. So in 2008 and on, he started giving inspirational speeches throughout the country, and he did give one here at YSU. He also, you could tell, studied, well, I wouldn't say study, but he really knew his audience really well because our age was when the time he started to use drugs, and when he started using drugs, things started to get real bad for him, and like I said before, eventually he hit rock bottom. So I believe that this example, his speech, was a good example of rhetoric because he uses the proofs that Aristotle talks about in his theory of Aristotle's rhetoric. And you can tell that in Chris Herren's speech, if anybody ever gets to hear it, he uses great arguments of why you should not ever consider doing drugs because there's so many negative outcomes of it, and there's like really no positives to come out of it. And like I said before, he really knows his audience because by our age, by around that time, he began using drugs. And even though he made it in the NBA quite a few times, he also hit rock bottom and lost pretty much everything that he had and everyone around him. So it was a really sad story, but overall it was a great speech because it really opened up a lot of eyes here at YSU and a lot of sports teams. So if they ever consider doing drugs, I would assume, are not going to do it because his speech was so powerful. And also, he has a page on Facebook that you like where you can see all, there's pictures of him giving speeches and him hugging people, crying. Like, you can really tell that he really touched the lives of people. And I just think that the way he developed his speech and the way he gave his speech is just a great example of Aristotle's rhetoric.